Hello everybody, my name is Zach, aka the Weather Gamer, bringing you a recap of how BRL Igglybuff ended for me. Because I stopped recording there for a month, just took a break and, yeah, just stepped away for a bit. So the last battle I uploaded was my match versus Ivy, where I just got out-prepped. Like, again, GG's to Ivy, just out-prepped me with that Shukaberry on the Bronzong, and then obviously getting a poison on Venusaur didn't help. That was week 8, I believe. Week 9, I got a forfeit win. Opponent never showed up, so I got a forfeit win there. So I believe we're starting with week 10's game? Yes, week 10's game. So, I believe it was Banded Haxorus again, Scarf it was Scarf Salazzle. It was, I think this was my Assault Vest Sharp set. Wigglytuff made its first appearance as a Dragapult check, Mega Main, and then Sticky Webs. So that was my my team. And yeah, we'll get right into it here. Sorry about the pause there. Had issue in WWC I had to go resolve because I don't know how to count. Anyways, yeah, so jumping into it. I lead Mega Main. I just figured it was a good lead all around. I go ahead and Mega Evolve and Snarl. The reason I snarled was I predicted the very thing that just came in. I predicted Raichu to come in. So lowering its special attack in case it was plot was really important. That's why I went that way. He does read me, get the Lightning Rod boost, which was really bad. Forces me to Snarl. He goes for a Focus Blast. It's a good thing that I snarled to block that. He hits a second Focus Blast. I'm going to go ahead and Snarl a third time, but at this point, Mega Man is incredibly weakened against Mega Arrow and Milotic when it is really necessary for both of those. He's going to Mega Evolve an Earthquake to take out Main. I'm going to go into Araquanid. Sad thing is I was Chartyberry, so I was for the Rock Hit, not Aerial Ace. Otherwise I would have had the Flying Berry to cover myself. But Araquanid ends up clearing out Mega Arrow, which is another big threat off the board. I still have Serp that can deal with my Milotic. And in comes Scissor against Araquanid. I'm going to go into Salazzle as Weezing comes out, and I Fire Blast, doing a hell of a lot to the Weezing. I do miss the second Will-O-Wisp, or the second Fire Blast. Had I hit that Fire Blast, Weezing would have died, wouldn't have been a problem, but instead gets a Pain Split and can heal itself up as I go for another one, getting a burn as he tries to Toxic me. I don't know why, but he did. My Milotic comes in as I Fire Blast, and I switch into Wigglytuff, seeing the Adrenaline Orb, which is really clean tech, because that was for my Mega Main to give it a competitive and a speed boost. At this point, I knew it wasn't Marvel scale. It was competitive with Adrenaline Orb. So, in comes Weezing as I go for Stealth Rocks, and I'm going to switch into Salazzle as this Weezing continues to heal up and annoy the ever-living hell out of me. I go for Hidden Power, predicting my Milotic to come in. Wrong prediction, and I'm kind of trapped into Hidden Powering at this point as I continue to weaken myself down, putting myself continuously in range of getting lower and lower and lower, 2%. He's going to get enough to heal past the burn, and Salazzle has basically killed itself in order to try and stay alive. Wigglytuff takes a decent chunk here as my Milotic comes in. I go ahead and toss off a Wish as Dragapult comes in, and I pass to Superior. Now, I Dragon Pulse as Dragapult Dragon dances. This scared me. My brain turns off here, and I'm going to lose this match because my brain turned off here. He has Dragon Darts, and, you know, had I just switched into Wigglytuff, this thing couldn't have killed Wigglytuff with Dragon Darts. And so then I would have sacked Wigglytuff. And, well, I would have had Wigglytuff in. I could have wished in front of this thing. It would have taken the Life Orb hit down to here. I would have First Impressioned and killed Dragapult. And still would have had Serp in here. Because Serp was Assault Vest, so I could take the Ice Beam off of my Milotic. I could Leaf Storm into it twice and kill it, and then I'd Hidden Power Fire to kill the Scizor. So letting Serp go down was just the wrong play in this game. I should have just gone straight into Wigglytuff. It was brought as a way to check Dragapult, and my dum-dum butt just didn't do it. He's obviously going to be able to heal off a Roost more than what Haxorus can do. I'm going to go into Scizor, which sucks because into Salazzle because I can't beat Scizor. And at this point, I'm going to lose my Choice Band because I was banded. But I'm just outraging. I had to lock into Outrage to try and beat the Milotic. I could beat the Milotic by outraging, but I couldn't beat it. Beat the Scizor. I unfortunately get the crit the turn after I needed it. Had I gotten the crit the first turn, before he got back to full, I would have killed Scizor, and then I might have had a chance. But at this point, it's over. All I'm doing now is trying to just pound in there, so... I also play this game at like 10 o'clock at night, so I'm going to use that as my excuse for why sacking Serp happened. But had I just kept Serp, this was definitely my Assault Vest Serp, I could have won this game. So, 2 games where Serp has cost me. One by getting poisoned, and one by just not being smart and going into Wigglytuff. So, this is week 11 that we're going into. Switch sides. I believe it's Scarf Serp, Banded Hax, Spext, Salazzle. But don't quote me on that. Healy versus Araquanid was just a terrible lead. I get paralyzed. Luckily, it wasn't a full para, so I can get my Sticky Webs up. But Araquanid's going to go down, and that was my best check to Charizard. I do bring in Serp. In comes Clefable. Get the Leaf Storm, doing 48%. And we see a major problem. I was Overgrowth, not Contrary. This was Unaware Clef, but it lost 48%, which was a min roll. My max roll was 56%. It was not going to live 2 more. At all. And so, yeah, it wasn't going to live 2 more. Because it could have wished and gotten itself back up to, like, 60-ish%. And been, yeah, it would not have gone well. He shows Mixed Charizard, which was really weird. That threw me for a loop. Because this was Mega Charizard X. Simeon comes in, clicks Gunk Shot. Steelix comes in knowing full well that I am Scarfed. I go into Serp. Zarina comes out. I go for Hidden Power Fire to do a chunk. Rapid spins away my hazards. I do another Hidden Power to take Zarina out. Heracross comes in and Scarfed. Heracross confirmed. I go into Passimian. In comes Steelix. I Gunk Shot again. This time I was predicting the Clefable. And at this point it's just, you know, Passimian's going to go down. God, if this game was so bad from the beginning because I had the wrong SERP set. If I was contrary like I was supposed to be, I would have cleared the Clefable. And, clearing the Clefable being at +2, he would have had to go Heracross, which would have killed SERP. But then Heracross would have been locked into Megahorn, which would have allowed me to go into Salazzle, which would have allowed me to do Fire Blast into his entire team, which didn't appreciate it, and so on and so forth. It just, not being contrary, just really messed me up that game. So I thought I was done at this point. I didn't think I was going to make playoffs, but turns out you do make playoffs. Top 7 make playoffs. So because the top 7 made it in, I ended up going into playoffs. So round 1 of playoffs, I ended up playing Griffin again, which is his sand team, where Chinchino actually kind of messed me up. I literally brought the same team, except I put a second Scarf, giving SERP Scarf, because I wanted to have 2 things faster than Cinchino. So I gave SERP a Scarf. He leads Hydreigon as I lead Salazzle. I go into Gligar because that was a terrible lead. Read the Earth Power. And I'm guessing Scarfed or Specs at this point in the match. I go Gligar, I knock off into the Gliscor, so no Poison Heal shenanigans. And then I go into Corviknight on this thing, knocking me off. He Swords Dances, I start bulking up. He goes for another one, I bulk up. This is physically defensive Corviknight, by the way. He's at +6. I am at +3. I go for it again, getting to +4. Ironhead, the big fatty. I Ironhead again, get the low roll, but then I flinch as he goes for Whirlwind. And he misses a Heat Wave. I body press and kill. Goes for knockoff. I go for Ironhead. Knockoff again. I go for bulk up because I'm a greedy bastard and went to +5. Ironhead kills that. He misses Rock Blast. And then he forfeits. He had a terrible time, but we do pick up a 6-0 for our first win in Gen 8 playoffs, and we are headed to semifinals. For our first ever trip in Gen 8 to semifinals, and our 3rd or 4th trip overall to semifinals. So, I mean, Corviknight was going to win this game anyways. I had Brave Bird to beat the Glade, and Body Press would have killed Drill. So there was nothing he could do. I do feel bad for Griffin, though. The sheer amount of hacks that he suffered from that game. So, coming into semis, I drew Ivy again. You can imagine I wasn't too thrilled that I had to play Ivy, especially after last time. I brought the same team, except I brought Araquanid over Salazzle for Sticky Web support, because Scarf Chomp and Scarf Chandelure were both problems that I was potentially running into last time. I did change Obstagoon to Defiant instead of Guts. That way if Scrafty came in, I would get a Defiant boost instead. Other than that, I ran the same team. Those were the only 2 differences between them. Ivysaur leads against Obstagoon, and I'm immediately behind the 8-ball. Goes for Sleep Powder. I set up webs. Liquidate against the Bronzong to try and put that Bronzong in range. I see Bronzong is Sub-Protect. So he has Sub-Protect, which I hate. I Leech Life and see it does nothing. Does not get the Charge Beam boost. And then is going to proceed to continue to Toxic Stall me down. I'm going to die in 2 turns from the Toxic Stall. But at this point, Araquanid's done what it needs to do. I just went for a Toxic, knowing full well it was probably Protect. In comes SERP. Same spec SERP set. In comes the problematic Ivysaur, or Venusaur. Gligar comes in, I Stealth Rock, and then I immediately pivot into main, knowing the Ice Beam was probably coming. I Mega Evolve, and we see Protect come off as I go for Hidden Power. I was predicting the Garchomp coming in. Scrafty comes in, intimidates me. I Thunderbolt for 36%. And then I'm going to Volt Switch to get into Gligar, which basically hard walls this thing every time. I go for Earthquake. Scrafty's going to bulk up. It's not going to live another Earthquake. Garchomp comes in. Speed Drop. I get a crit. Earthquake. Second Earthquake as Stealth Rocks come out, and then the third Earthquake will take that out. Vape's going to come in. Gligar at this point has done everything it needs to, so it Toxics, and then it'll go down. I need to get Chip on this Ivysaur, or on this Venusaur, in order for Superior to have any sort of chance. I'm going to need to get that thing weakened. I go main. Ivysaur comes in. I end up Volt Switching, and this is just about enough damage. Goon goes for knockoff. Definitely enough damage. I am asleep, though. And then Giga Drain happens. I'm like, oh, crap. This thing's going to heal. For some reason, Ivy decided to Sludge Bomb me instead of Giga Draining a second time. I think if he had Giga Drained me a second time, he would have had enough health where late game he would have been okay. I go into main. I'm just going to overheat because I want as much damage on this thing as possible. Haxorus is going to come in and kill the Scrafty. With Earthquake. Vape's going to come in, and I Dragon Danced again on the Ice Beam. Give myself my attack back and the speed boost. I go for Outrage, knowing it's not going to kill. Ice Beam, and this was the position I needed to be in, because now I have Webs up, the Vape is chipped, Ivysaur is chipped, and Chandelure will not survive once Serp goes to +2. And I outspeed it now. So it's Serp's time to shine. Serp's going to come in, Protect, Leaf Storm. Serp's going to come in, kill, go to +2. In comes Ivysaur. It can't live after Stealth Rock Chip. Ivysaur goes down. At +4, it's a guaranteed OHKO on Chandelure. So, should be first trip to finals. And fucking Chandelure misses the... Oh! I missed 2 Leaf Storms all season with Serp. One early on, which didn't matter. I ended up still winning that game. And the most critical Leaf Storm of the season I missed right here versus Chandelure. It was so heartbreaking. GG's to Ivy. Ivy ended up going on to win the league, so I guess I lost to the champion, but I am really, really salty that Serp cost me that game at the end. It's still... well, I'm not salty. It sucks. My first trip to finals got nailed by missing the most critical of Leaf Storms. So, it is what it is. I mean, I got a crit on Garchomp, so, you know, a crit for a miss, I guess, is a fair hacks trade, but... Oh, it hurt. Oh, it sucked. And that's where our BRL run ended. We ended up taking it to semis. So, again, I'm going to see where my schedule is for BRL when it fires up again. If I can join or not. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of really cool people in Igglybuff. So, yeah, it was fun, but... I'll recap where the Mons, Kill Death, and all that finished off when I recap with SBT and LTPL. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.